Well, welcome everyone, the audience who's just seen the wonderful film Slalom. And we're so delighted to have with us, electronically, sadly not in person, the director. It's her first film, and a very, very warm welcome to Charlene Favier. Uh, Welcome, Charlene.
Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to present this incredible first film in our selection, Europe Voices of Women in Film. And I really must say, congratulations to you. It's a very intense and powerful film, one that's really stayed with me from the first moment I saw it. And I think Slalom is both a very, very timely film and also a personal film for you. Could you share with us why it was important for you to tell this story?
Yeah, it's a really personal story. Actually, I shot the film where I lived, where I grew up in Val d'Isère in a ski resort. And this is a bit my story. It's not exactly my story, but it's part of my teenage story. When I faced the screen, when I was starting to write the script, it came out of me straight away. Like I didn't have choice. I had to write this film. So it was a really powerful movement, artistic and probably also therapeutic movement for me to make this film. I really wanted to mix some ingredients as the ski that I used to do a lot when I was a kid, and still now I'm still skiing a lot. Um, the mountain that I think it's a fantastic background for story. Of course, the face to face between the trainer and the young athletes. So that was really the ingredients I wanted to put in my shaker to make this first film.
I think what the film does so brilliantly is that it creates such a vivid portrait of Liz, capturing such a range of sometimes conflicting emotions. There's a strong desire to succeed, a desire to impress her coach. Um, but there's so much going on, and we can see this in every moment. Could you tell us about the writing for this very complex character?
Yeah, it was hard and it was easy. It was both. It was easy because it's a bit my personality, Liz, and she's a bit like I was when I was a teenager. It was hard because I wanted to be really um, right on the feelings. I had this big responsibility to tell this story about abuse in sports. So that was hard because I really wanted to be really near the reality. I choose to write all the film from the point of view of Liz, so we can experience what she feel um, from the beginning to the end. And that was really a rule that I imposed to myself, that I forced myself to be in, to really, uh, yeah, it's a bit like a performance. Like I really wanted that the audience feel everything, everything. So that was a guideline for me for all the writing of the script.
Well, I think you certainly achieved that. Also working with two incredible actors. It's a very tough subject matter. The performances are key to making the entire film work, and you have two very great actors in Noé Abita and, of course, the great Jeremy Renier. Could you tell me about the choice of the actors and then how you worked with them in confronting this rather difficult subject matter?
Yes, I discovered Noé Habitat in a film called Ava. It was her first film, and that was in Cannes in 2017. I started the writing of Slalom in 2014, so it was
Right.
much more before Me Too movements. And in 2017, I was starting to try to find an actress for the role. I find Noé Habitat, and we did a short together, a short film called Odol Gori. which is a bit the same idea that in Slalom you have the consentement story there on the young girl and on a man who is abusing in a way of her. And we really like become sister on the short film. And after that, I was really certain of my choice, and I really wanted to work with her for the feature film. And Jeremy, I admire him for a long time. For me, he's a wonderful actor. He did so many different films, so many different roles. And his approach is a bit like American actor. He really become physically the character in every film he's doing. And that was really important for me. The physically engagement. That was also really important with Noé. And that's how we work, from the body first and after the rest.
Also extraordinary in the film is how vividly you portray this world of elite skiing. And you've told us that you skied and still ski. And you capture both the thrill of the competition, but also the great endurance required to succeed. Could you tell us about this and the shooting of the skiing scenes, which I think are pretty incredible and really takes us into that world of elite skiing?
Yeah, that was quite simple actually. The skiing shot. It was like the rest of the film from the point of view of Liz. On this make a big difference to feel the ski from the sensation, from the emotion of the character. It's not like when you are looking ski competition on TV, where you are looking the competition from far away. I
Yes.
really wanted to enter into the body and the mind and the soul of Liz. And she is afraid and she's excited and she is everything in the same time. So it was really simple actually. I had to find a really, really good cameraman here. On the guy who hold the camera while Liz is skiing is old champion, skiing champion, so he can really do everything on ski, and he's just follow her. He follow her with the camera. That was quite gorgeous to see when we were in the shooting, because he takes so much risk following the skier with the camera. And I think the ski scene are also impressive because we work a lot on the sound. We never talk about the sound, but I think the sound here is really important. You feel the heart of Liz. You can hear the ski and the slopes, and all that makes something really powerful. Also because you hear what a skier hear when he's competing on skiing and onto the slope. So yeah, I think it's a mix of all those elements to make those scenes quite different, probably, and impressive.
You mentioned that you began working on the film prior to the Me Too movement, and I think what we've learned over the last many years, and especially in recent years, of sexual abuse through organizations of religion, culture, cinema, of course, sport, more recently. Do you think this exposure has led to improved conditions? I read an extraordinary story just the other day in the New Yorker about something that happened in Germany, where foster children, in a very disturbing experiment, were placed in the homes of pedophiles. It's just astonishing what we learn each day, things that seem absolutely unbelievable. But do you think all this exposure is good in improving the conditions and preventing further abuses of power of this nature?
Of course, because I think if we don't talk about that, we cannot avoid it. You know, on the first step is to talk about it. And for me, when I make this film, when I write this film, I think the inner need that I had, it was to tell this story, to say to the world, that's how it happened. we never talk about that, but I'm gonna show you. You are gonna feel what I feel when I was 14 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when people see these films, they're like, oh yeah, I think I understand. And before, in France, people didn't want to talk about that because they were always they didn't want to talk about the grip, because the grip is something also really hard to talk about, because it's a mix of a lot of different feelings. And they were always, I think, thinking, this is too complicated. This is love, this is not love, this is abuse, but we are not sure. So, okay, let's avoid the subject. We let go that and we see, no, I think it's not so hard to talk about those targets, those problematic actually. But we just have to look at the problem straight in the eyes, and we have also to look at each other in the mirror to see, okay, that's what can happen. And now we need to be aware, we need to be careful, and we need to place the boundary on the limits so it will not happen again. And I think all the story coming up in the press, in the world, are really important. And I'm really happy to be part of this big movement. That was not my intention, because I did that to heal myself, at the beginning. And after that, the Me Too movement came, and I was like, that gave me a lot of power to continue, because nobody wanted to finance the film. After the movement, people start to be interested in my film. I was like, oh, thanks God, I'm not the only one who want to tell
Yeah.
this story, so I think it's really important.
And then the film gets made extremely well, is selected for Cannes in 2020, which is the dream of every filmmaker. But for the first time in our lifetime, I think Cannes does not happen in 2020. So this is, of course, very sad, but I want to ask, it seems to me that the film has made its way in the world. It's a film that's well known in the world. Tell me about that experience, and in a terrible year for the cinema, how did you manage to get your film out there, and how did it play?
For me, it was not a big deal, and I was still happy to be part of the Cannes selection. It was still a big, big, big honor for me to be part of the selection. The process was so long. This film is like 5-6 years of my life, or maybe 5 years before trying to enter into the cinema world, because I didn't go to school. I didn't have a normal circuit parkour in this world. So it's maybe an achievement of 10 years of trying to tell that. So I was really, really happy. We didn't have the big Cannes, but we had many small festivals in France and in the world where the film has been released, and the press was really wonderful. And in Sweden, for example, the film will be shown in all the school, in every school. So
Amazing.
the Swedish government take the film to show it in every school. In France, it's the same, and I think in other countries as well. So it was a dream that the audience was here was here anyway. The festival as well, on also all the association of people trying to change the mentality and the so that was a really good experience anyway.
Oh, fantastic! I'm really glad to hear that. I want to, for the last question, maybe speak about your next project. Maybe you have many projects on the go, but I read that one of your projects is another film about sport, about surfing. And I think one of the things about how much we regret not being able to invite all the directors of the Europe Voices of Women in Film program to Sydney is that it would have been a bit of a homecoming for you to return to Australia. You spent a year here. So I wanted to tell us a little bit about your next project. Do you want to shoot a film about surfing in Australia, perhaps?
I would love to. Yeah, Australia. I have a love story with Australia, and actually everything started for me in Australia. I came. It was more than 10 years ago. I was 22 years old, and I came in Australia with a working holiday visa. For 1 year,
Yes.
and after I spent 1 year in New Zealand after that as well. I lived in Byron Bay, in this hippie town, and that's where I made my first film, a documentary called "Is Everything Possible, Darling?" about those people living there, and they want to change the world, and they're in this idealistic way of living. That's the first time where I took a camera. Everything starts from there. When I came back to France, I built my company, my production company called Charlie Bus Production, and that was really the start of everything for me. I'm also a surfer. That's why I came to Australia as well, to surf, and I still surf a lot. Yeah, I have a project in France about surfing, but that's like a series. It will be not like film for cinema, but I'm still looking for another project really about surf. And I would love to come to Australia to shoot a film about surf, definitely.
Well, we hope that will happen sooner, and we hope that we'll be able to welcome you to Sydney and to Sydney Film Festival with a future film. But thank you so much for your time today,
Thank
and thank you for a beautiful film and a very powerful film, and one that I think we need very much at this moment.
Thank you very much.